Alright, it's good to be here this beautiful morning. It's another Tuesday, and of course, we give thanks to God for sparing our lives to be here once again. It's AM Charts coming to you live and direct from MRTV. My name is Gloria Roberts, and of course, with me in the studio this morning is the beautiful Modupe. Modupe, how are you?
Beautiful Gloria, how are you doing?
Oh, you're looking all smashing this morning.
How are you doing?
I'm beautiful again.
Good morning, Nigerians, and so good to be right here today. Another day, as you said, and for us all. And yes, we can actually take this away from Nigeria. The things that are happening. Yes, and I must quickly talk about Mrs. Aisha Buhari's comment about the State House Medical Center, saying that despite millions of naira being pumped into this particular sector, yet there is no quality. Yes, who is to be blamed for this? Well, I don't really know. You know, when she came out yesterday to actually say that, I said to myself that.
So the women now that there's enough money being pumped into that sector.
Into that, yes. And
so who is responsible for it? All this
so instead of just rolling out or letting people know the poor service, maybe just for us to know that of the truth. Also, State House Medical Center in Abuja is not in good condition. Maybe she was actually saying that out, but saying that there is poor service, that there is no quality, I think she's a bit close to those people who should take up the
chance. I really want to come out to say
yes,
that.
of ensuring that, because you know, generally in hospitals, that's what we say generally about hospitals in Nigeria, we get to have inadequate facilities, which is in a way an issue and is affecting the lives of Nigerians.
No, Nigeria, we're not
can't just keep talking about
we're not for talking. That's the thing. We're not for talking. Now you
walking
are.
This thing out.
I think it makes it more attractive to people, more worrisome to people, because you are the president of the president's wife.
Yeah.
Now you coming out to make such a comment, discover what is wrong and then fix it. That's the way it's supposed to be. So it's not even supposed to be placed on the public. You're not even supposed to come out to say such a statement, because now we know the medical sector is one of the most important sectors in the country, and that this sector has been suffering for so long. We know the facilities, all that is needed in that sector is not well placed, but then this is something that can actually be fixed. Now, if you're saying you're pumping money into the sector and then the money is not used well, then you need to do a follow-up. You need to know who and who is responsible for taking the money.
For it, yes.
You understand? So if the services are not well, then you need to think of the people first, then fix the problem. Whoever is responsible for taking this money, for Christ's sake, do something about it. If the person has to be removed,
because even where you get to have a president daughter also came on Instagram page and also talking about the poor service of State House Medical Center in Abuja. I was like, they are both on the same page. President daughter, president's wife, saying all this. But
someone said yesterday that thank God they know this.
They know that.
So now we are expecting them to do something about it.
Swiftly. All right, going further, this is about police officers in Nigeria, and there was actually a peaceful protest for unpaid salaries by police officers in Kaduna, and they've not been paid for 2 months, I think August and September, and they are saying that it's not really easy for them not to be paid for 2 months. So now the question is, where you get to have security agents that you know that their bone of contention is to secure Nigerians, and then in Kaduna State you have them not being paid for 2 months. And then the Commissioner of Police actually came out to say that the delay in payment is due to Federal Ministry of Finance, IPPS office, that is coming from the Federal Ministry of Finance, IPP office, and not them. But I think the Commissioner of Police in Kaduna State should respond swiftly to that.
It's gonna aid corruption, because
and that's why you get to see. That's why you get to see that, you know, in bribery, corruption acts.
People would always retire to using something to make money. Because now the main source, which is supposed to be paid, their salaries, their rights, they're not paid. So you can actually blame them when they start taking the bribes and all of that. And I think that's why that sector is actually really suffering when we have those are supposed to protect you taking bribes, so you can't even walk into the station now to report any case without paying before you report. And yes, they say the police is your friend.
And they say police is a friend and bail is free. They're reading out.
Bail is free! Oh my God. All right, so we hope something will be done in that sector. Yes, moving on, President Muhammadu Buhari orders Kachukwu Barrow to stop public arguments over NNPC issues. Now, there's been a whole lot surrounding Kachukwu and all
yes.
of this.
Yes, you know, they feel it's. This is not the first time. I said this yesterday. This is not the first time where you get to have the GMD and NNPC boycotting the Minister of State Petroleum, Minister of State for Petroleum. This is not the first time this will happening. Now, it's more or less like throwing it in the public, and the GMD is saying that I've not done it. I've not awarded any contract without you knowing.
There's been mixed feelings concerning this. Some people have been saying that it's so wrong for you to sideline Kachukwu, like he claimed he's been sidelined. Then some other people think that Kachukwu is just overreacting, he should calm down. And
this is more or less about bureaucracy, it's more or less about power. Because it's just, our power does intoxicate. I think it's much more about saying that, okay, my position supersedes. My position is, normally when you don't consult the person you need to consult on a parallel level, you get to see something coming up and say that this person is respecting my office. So that is playing out in a way. But I think it should be something that shouldn't have been blown out of proportion to an extent. It should be solved since the president himself is the minister for petroleum.
So you think Kachukwu is going too far on this?
I believe he's not going far to an extent, but let them solve it. Let them solve it.
Okay, so moving away from Kachukwu's issue, which seems to be flooding the internet right now, a whole lot of people talking about his issue. But then, how Nnamdi Kanu gained ground because my husband was sick, and this is Aisha's statement. She says Nnamdi Kanu actually gained ground in the first place because my husband was sick. I have a whole lot of reserved comments on this because I'm like, okay, so the president was sick for some time, and then this guy came up with the IPOP thing and trying to gather people to stand away from Nigeria and create a country in a country. So now it has to do with the fact that the president was not healthy at the time. Is this a good enough excuse? Because now I know the acting president was doing a whole lot at the time, and we had more issues even at that time, security issues here and there. And I actually gave a lot of thumbs up to the vice president who was standing here and actually making sure that things were actually putting the country together. So Aisha now is excusing this based on her husband's.
It's just because my husband wasn't around. Then it seemed like when the president came back to Nigeria, the power came back. Like there is something different.
You just feel that
the man is back. But that's really. I just want to believe, even if that is it, Nnamdi Kanu is just taking that riding on that advantage there because we have the president out of the country. Well, the LH said, we don't know.
Because I actually felt it in a way when the president gave his statement saying nobody can actually separate the country and all that. So yes. I felt, yes, the president has spoken. That kind of feeling.
Yes, of course.
Well, let's move on from that. Okay, so now this is a statement saying, I have not thought about running for presidency. And this is coming from Oshibajo. So I had people talking about this statement yesterday about the vice president saying he is not talking for president. But it's sounding like on the reverse, like, okay, I've not really thought of running for president, but I think I have the intention. So
start to think about it. Yeah, if he runs, it's in his own domain to run if he wants to. But one thing I can really say is the duo of President Muhammadu Buhari and Vice President Oshibajo, it's been spectacular to an extent. This is a vice who is not whom we say that is a ceremonial head, but he didn't play that part. He actually played the part of a vice president much more than a ceremonial head.
He has been very active.
Talking at the Financial Times African Summit yesterday actually blew my mind with many of the things they said. And it was just on top of it, saying a lot about the economy, saying a lot about ease of doing business initiative. And you could see somebody who will actually understand the economy, understand what it is in a country. So if you decide to run for it, why not? But it's not for us.
Let's hope that he gets a better one on that one. But that's not as it will raise issue on your mind as much as Fayoshe's
intention. To ask questions and want to hear the feedback from the vice president. So I wonder what that question would have been coined. What's that been like? Like, are you thinking of running for the presidency?
Away from that, I don't know if Dukwa is actually intending on running for presidency.
Oh.
But then Saraki Dugara Malai, this is really interesting.
Okay.
Others earn more than Donald Trump. Amazingly.
Yes, I think I saw a report even before that talking about federal lawmakers generally earning much more.
And I think it's high time we address this issue of people in government earning more, so much, and then we have so much going on in the country, so much that needs to be fixed.
Sani Abdullahi was asked on live TV, how much do you earn? He said to the person who asked him the question that, would you tell me how much you earn as a presenter? We are not to say this is what is being earned. So it's more or less like
running away from the question.
It's more or less for you not to know. We know how much we're earning.
So even if it's not Nigeria's business.
Even if it's more democracy, such that allows it that in as much as we are being paid more, it's because of the kind of government we run. So we need to be, it was just trying to justify.
As someone was saying yesterday, if we keep going like this, how will the country get better if some people are taking all the money that's supposed to be meant for a large number of people? But then lastly, we are actually condoling with Ghana. Ghana actually had an explosion.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
President Muhammadu Buhari has condoled with the government and people of Ghana on the gas explosion in the region suburb of Accra, Ghana. That was on Saturday.
I saw the pictures yesterday.
Yes, really horrible. And replying, however, Akufo-Addo thanked Buhari for his comforting and kind words. So we actually hope that this would not reoccur in that area.
All right,
so that's it on matters arising.
And let's take a break. When we come back, newspaper review. Just stay with us.
Glad to have you back. It's still AM Chapter's beautiful morning, and it's time for us to go straight to the front pages of the newspapers and give you a headline on what's been happening. I have here the Nation, Daily Sun, and of course Nigerian Tribune.
And I have the Punch newspaper, the Vanguard, and News Direct.
Okay, so we'll start with the Punch.
Okay, on the Punch newspaper this morning, the major headline: reactions as Barrow says no role for Kachiko and NPC board in contract. Two riders under that, GMD says contract figures exaggerated in minister's letter. Agbako will sue the federal government over recent appointment and cooperation. You can find that on page 9 of the Punch newspaper this morning. Also on the Punch newspaper, federal government probes 31 monkeypox suspected cases in Lagos, 6 states, on page 10. 31 monkeypox suspected cases.
Sorry.
All right, on page 16, no single syringe orders in Villa Clinic. Aisha Buhari demands probe of health facilities allocation. And flipping to pages 4 and 5 is please recover drugs as another Davido's friend crew member die. Ex-army chief Malo dies in Egypt. Buhari others mourn on page 22. Again, gunmen attack Rivers community, kill 14 on page 5. And all protesters petition Buhari National Assembly demand a CP's transfer on page 16 of the Punch newspaper. And also NIPERS reintroduces money order, begins electronic mail tracking on page 26. And get a copy to find out much more. And you got a picture caption right there. Resident of Adi community in Bison, local government area of Cross River State, at the scene of a tanker crash in the town yesterday. So that's it on the Punch newspaper.
Okay, moving ahead, we have the Nation newspaper, and the big caption on the Nation newspaper this morning is Presidency backs Barrow, and on the right we have the Southeast governors to adopt one political bloc. Okay, so still on the Nation, you see a picture here of Barrow and Kachukwu. Now Kachukwu, our contracting process is perfect, and we will continue to follow the process. The NNPC board has no role, I repeat, has no role as far as the contracting process is concerned. And Kachukwu says the legal and procedure requirement is that all contracts above $20 million would need to be reviewed and approved by the board of NNPC. Okay, you might want to get details on that, so pick up a copy of the Nation newspaper this morning. Gunmen kill nursing mother, 11 others in Rivers. Ikeogo wins NLNG's $100,000 prize. That story is on page 7. Raw ends 2-year contract extension. And that story is on page 39. And I think this is a good one for Raw, following the fact that Super Eagles just won against the Chipolopolo
of Zambia.
Ex-Army Chief Victor Maliu dies at 70. Details on page 7. Buhari's wife, Aso Clinic, has no syringe. And you can get details on that on page 6 of the Nation newspaper. 31 monkeypox cases in Lagos, Ekiti, Ogun, and others. And it's really sad to see that monkeypox has traveled down to Lagos. We are really hoping it doesn't spread further and it gets totally eradicated.
I just believe it will be curtailed. I just believe that.
Okay, NNPC on oil deals, no process breached. So you can get many more details on the Nation newspaper this morning, only if you get a copy. That's it from the Nation.
Okay, all right, this morning on the Vanguard newspaper, major headline, you lied. Cooked figures, NNPC replies Kachukwu. The Vanguard, we have 3 riders right there. Says Kachukwu exaggerated, concocted figures to back his claims. Penderson, Nupeng vowed to resist interference, back Senate probe. It's unfortunate, says Afenifere Barry talking. Bladadush or Shuntokun. And going further, ex-COA Manu dies at 70. Buhari APC more on page 14 of Vanguard newspaper. Quick notice: no one can send people away from any part of Nigeria, southeast, south governors. On page 34, and monkeypox now in Lagos, 6 other states, 31 cases recorded. NCDC. Presidency 2019, Atiku rethinks joining PDP as McCarthy, Lamido prepare. On page 8, we know how to decamp for parties in Nigeria. All right, going further, Nigeria wasn't stable due to my husband's ill health. Aisha Buhari coming out to say that, and that's all we got on the Vanguard newspaper. But getting my attention is this picture. It's a tanker crash, and the people are scooping
The
fuel
oil.
from it.
This is what
The danger attached to this
decades.
is huge.
Really huge.
Look at the guys
Really huge.
looking, look at their faces. Wow, that's serious anyway.
Okay, so we have been actually warning people concerned. This can actually cause a whole lot of disaster. Yes, and all these lives here, all these people here would just get bombed in a split of a second.
And we'll tell you.
All right, so let's move on, and here we have the Daily Sun. On the Daily Sun this morning, a big story says, "You are lying." And the writer says, "NNPC fights back, faults Kachuku." Okay, so as Presidency declares GMD Barrow. You can find details of the story on page 10 and 8. Moving on, still on the Sun newspaper, Army launches Operation Crocodile Smile in Lagos, Ogun. Details on page 3. And moving on, Police Service Commission investigates CPS. And details on page 4. 2019 vying for presidency not on the cards of Shibajo. Details on page 39. Anambra Gober IPOP declares site at home November 18. You can find details of this on page 13. Malu ex-chief of army staff dies in Egypt. And details is on page 39. Still on the Sun newspaper, Daily Sun, commuters battling to put out fire which gutted a bus in the fleet of Bus Rapid Transit BRT in Lagos yesterday. Really sad one there. And there you see pictures of people trying to pour water, what have you, just to put out the fire, and it got a bad part of the bus. Okay, so lastly on the Daily Sun this morning, marginalization responsible for agitations, Kalu. And ex-Abia governor visits IBB Nigeria governor. Details you can find on page 40 of the Daily Sun. To get many more stories, you need to get a copy of the Daily Sun.
All right, the news, Nigerian News Direct. This morning, the major headline, Nigerian News Direct, 2019 presidential election. Southeast, South governors plan block votes. That's on page 2 of Nigerian News Direct. And also 57 years after, with the Nigerian banks, page 16. Residents lament as refuse takes over Songwater on page 4 of News Direct. And also we got this foreign investors shun Nigeria over bad roads, unfriendly policies, LCCI, others on page 2. Retail price extortion, telecom subscribers dump MTN recharge cards, adopt mobile banking on page 10. And finally, on Nigerian News Direct is casualization. Indian firm allegedly sacked 700 workers on page 10 of Nigerian News Direct. And that's it. Well, actually what got my attention is telecom subscribers dump MTN recharge cards, adopt mobile banking. You know, some people just believe instead of getting airtime, let me just use, since I have my bank account,
get your phone recharged through your account. And it seems very easy these days. You know, someone actually told me, why can't you recharge cards? You can actually go through that way, but I hope that's not affecting the
I just hope this is still going back.
Still
to
the money is still
company.
going back.
Yeah, to them. All right, that's
All right, so lastly, we have the Nigerian Tribune paper this morning, and the big caption here says, "Our NNPC tenders board work, Baru explains to Kachuku." And the writer says, adherence to BPP Act would have saved this situation. Ekwesili Agbakoba, you sue federal government over appointments in NNPC. Okay, so still on the Nigerian Tribune. Despite 3 billion naira budget, no siren at Asara Clinic. Aisha Buhari laments. Kanu took advantage of my husband's absence, she says. Details you can find on page 31. 31 suspect cases of monkeypox in Lagos, Ogun, Ekiti, 4 others, federal government. So details you can find on page 7. All right, moving on. Gunmen invade Rivers Market, kill 10, and you can get details of that story on page 35. Patient Jonathan, Senate summons 7 bank MDs, and you can get details of that on page 11. How Jonathan received sabotage by his own cabinet, Wike. Details is on page 7. Buhari orders mourn as Victor Malu dies in Egypt. We are probing CPS over misconduct allegations, Police Service Commission. And details you can find on page 35 of that story. Residents of Adimo community in Bay's local government area of Cross River State scooping fuel from a falling tanker on Monday. And there you see the pictures, and seems to be the picture of most of the papers this morning. It's really sad to know that people don't take their life as important as it should be. Because at the end of the day, if there's an explosion, then you couldn't get the oil.
And this is not the first time.
Lost your life.
This is the first time we have things like this, but it's just that people aren't just ready to listen.
It is a really pathetic
Could it be out of poverty? Could it be kerosene? Could it be lack of sound judgment? Well, I really don't know.
But people blame it on a whole lot of things. But at the end of the day, it still falls back to the fact that you're going to lose your life, and life continues.
Of course.
So.
All right, that's it. The newspaper review segment. Going further, it's about the viability of oil and gas sector. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll take you through. All right, could you still there? Latino CM chat on MITV, and basically what we need to look into now is the fact that we got this information yesterday, and it's about the president's wife, Mrs. Aisha Buhari, who came out to say that there is no syringe in Aso Rock Clinic. The question many Nigerians seem to ask is, why would there be no syringe in Aso Rock Clinic, in a State House Medical Center? Why would the quality of service be that bad? Now, today we want to get your reaction on this particular topic of importance, because at this time, when we are talking about other hospitals outside Abuja, now the same clinic you have in Aso Villa, there is no syringe. Now, go ahead. When I saw this, I was like, is it about the caption given to it, the way it's being coined by, journalists, or how could there not be a syringe in Aso Rock Clinic? How possible?
Whichever way it's being coined, bottom line is she made a statement that, and in all of it, what you see in summary of the statement is that the medical sector is really suffering. And coming from Aso Rock, now someone said if there's no syringe in Aso Rock, then I'm wondering, in other hospitals, how worse they can be, government-owned hospital that is. So it's really terrible, and it raises a whole lot of alarm this time around. It's really worrisome on the hearts of Nigerians, wondering, okay, so Aisha coming out to say there's no syringe, and like you said, it could be the way it's being captioned, but then what it means is that
you talked about the
Aso Rock Clinic is not in good shape.
In good shape.
You understand?
Yeah.
So it's as bad as that. And so comparing it to the fact that there's no syringe, so it's really, like I told you before we came on, it's worse than bad. So it's a really terrible situation. And I know Nigerians right now are wondering, okay, so if Aso Rock Clinic can be suffering, then it means the other ones can be justified based on that. But now we are hoping that this would not be justified. Now that Aisha has come out to say this, that even Aso Rock Clinic is not in good shape. So that your clinic is in your house, don't lament, don't say government are not doing anything. Just know that even the one governments are using is not in good shape. So I hope that is not going to be the case. But the case would be that something will be done.
Now, I was actually looking at it, and I look at the people at that event where she made a statement. It was at one of the pet project events being organized, I think Future Assured. Now, you have wives of state governors right there, development partners, you have media gurus, intellectuals, and every one of them right at that event. And then you have a president who's saying there is no syringe. Now, more or less, when you just want to think it through, you look at it like the state governors, the wife needs to go back to their governors, to their husband, and tell them, even in Aso Rock itself,
no syringe.
So if there is no syringe, so
we can't bother.
We can't blame ourselves, but it's really worrisome.
Really,
this is one side we just have been both a bit, but the truth is it's a bit shameful to say.
Very shameful,
because this
is
a clinic close to the nose of government officials. This is a clinic which we feel that will be getting, and maybe reason why we couldn't have some of these government officials using that clinic and deciding to go outside of the country to get medical treatment.
Okay, now the question in my heart right now is, okay, so Aisha is saying there's no syringe in Aso Rock Clinic. Aso Rock Clinic, like you said, is under the president's nose and supervision. So who are we to blame for this? What kind of message is she trying to put out there? What is she trying to say in essence? If there's no syringe in Aso Rock Clinic, so who is responsible for that? Because you as well as handcuffing yourself now, holding yourself responsible for an act. So it's really terrible, because if there's no syringe in Aso Rock Clinic, it means that the government is actually failing us. The government are not looking in depth into things that are supposed to be put in place. So even the one that is so close to you, you're not taking note of it. You're not taking note of things that are not there. You're not putting things in place. So how then can you oversee other areas? You know, so
some people get to say that probably is a political statement to say, or this is more or less like saying, yes, maybe all things are not rosy in my husband's administration. Maybe also trying to be, to be truthful and sincere about how things are being wrong. But
standing against.
But we have the Minister of Health. If we have the Minister of Health, all that knows, I think that should be solved. I want to believe that ASO Clinic should be one of the best. Do you understand? We are not saying for anything, because it's serving our people, it's serving those who are representing us.
And then another thing that we should look at is that I heard someone saying this yesterday while we were talking about this, and said, now we need to be conscious of the fact that we hope this is not a means of getting money again. Because we heard once that there is rats in president's office.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, what's your name?
My name is Toba.
Okay, where is Toba calling from?
I'm calling from Lekki.
Okay, good to have you, Toba. Go ahead.
Yeah. The president was always looking as well, cleaning and demonstrating as well. One of many other government hospitals that maybe we not visited. You see how people die like that in most of these government hospitals. And one thing I want this government and my fellow viewers to know is that this government has really failed us. Because you think that we cannot, what is it in the thing? I can't say it even working. So for all things that you are serious, to me, I see it as a propaganda. Let me see that. Let me just use my own word. The propaganda of the fight, why was the fight? Many Nigerians are now. They can afford to go abroad. They can afford to go abroad. They can afford to go abroad. They all Nigeria go to live even in permanent center. We have some people begin to get medical care. We see nurses demanding for money. The other time, I wanted to collect a report of a country guy who was my colleague. I took this guy to the hospital. Doctor was demanding for money to get to the care. And we say we have government. See somebody dying. Just cutting out of his head. Somebody that was stabbed. Doctor was demanding for money to go to the care. This guy was spending for more than 3 hours because I refused not to pay money. I let that say, when the bleeding was too much. There are so many things wrong in this country, and we think that the only way to do this, and there's no ability to even speak to that country authority.
All right, Toba.
Thank you so much, Toba.
Thank you so much, Toba,
for
calling. Now you made a very remarkable.
I said something that is this not about political statements? Is this not about propaganda? Could that really be true?
Because we
normally
times that they said there is rats. There was rats in the president's office while he was absent. So now that was actually in a way of fine. The president's office needs some restructuring and renovations and all that. Now this, I hope, is not in that line that we say, okay, we need money to renovate ASO Rock Clinic because ASO Rock does not even have syringe.
Oh, then we have budgets. There is a 2017 budget and there is a space for health. So in as much as they're actually money pumping to health sector, now is to address many of these issues. So I wonder why you have actually taken the budget to the houses. We are into it, we are spending it already, and then we're still saying there is no syringe. So what is it that we know? So are we now saying it should, it's the way you're saying that they are pumping in money to health sectors, other things, or maybe probably hospitals around aside ASO Rock Clinic is not the reason behind that statement. But let's get to your reaction. You have the number on the screen. Turn down the volume of your TV set. Hello, good morning. Good morning, what's your name? Hello?
This is just to show how the level of corruption and failure is failed up. So if you are trying to tell us there is no truth in the favor of hospitals, that means it's failure. And the kind of lies they tell out, they tell Nigerian people. But sometimes I think to wonder if Nigeria is a country.
Yeah.
Honestly, they should sit back. Is it because they think people don't talk or what? They keep fooling Nigeria. This is government hospitals, people die like flies, nobody cares. When you need your own treatment, you travel abroad. You have time to need to checkmate this thing. When you need your treatment, let them come to government hospital. No. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your
much
contribution.
for
Now,
that.
he talked about them traveling out, and then Toba made a statement the other time that not everybody can afford to go out of the country to take this medical treatment that is needed at the time. And then now let's look at the medical sector. It's a sector that is really very important to Nigerians, to the country. But then, this is the same sector that so much is not done to put it in shape. Now you see that he talked about when you go to the hospital, some people don't attend to you on time. When someone is actually bleeding, but it's not so in other civilized countries. Now, I might want to refer back to when we had Fashola still in power.
Yeah.
He, at a point, went to the hospital and disguised to be a patient and saw the way these people
Things
were
are
actually
done.
doing,
Okay.
walking past him and so, please, I'm a patient, I need urgent attention. And he said, no, just sit down there, and trust me, a whole lot of people lost their job on that day. So it shows that even the workers seem to have accepted their fate and this is a free for all kind of movement. So you just move any way you want, treat patients any way you like. So there's no commitment to the job.
Now, when there is no commitment, there is a place of motivation. We remember when we had resident doctors went on strike. The place of motivation cannot be taken away,
Definitely.
and money involvement, incentive can never be taken away. And we get to see sometimes that always not because of the way many of these doctors and nurses are being treated. That's why we now get
taking it out on
the people. But this profession is much more beyond that to an extent, because there is something they call passion. And the fact that you love life, you want to save life, that's why you're in the profession. But at some point, you will even get to some hospitals and they tell maybe probably because of what they face over time. So before they can say, okay, we want to start up to treat you, you need to put this down, because some people, they will treat them and there is nothing to put down for it. But away from that, to save us from that, why do we have the NHIs? That is the reason why we need to have the health insurance scheme. The health insurance scheme is basically going to be a plus.
Yes,
it's going to be a plus for everybody, and there is no need for you to just say you really want to go. So many things are actually involved in this.
Take a break at this point. When we return, we still have much to talk about, and then we'll take your reaction concerning the Aisha Buhari statement. Stay with us. All right, glad to have you back still on AM Charts. This beautiful morning coming to you live and direct from the studios of MITV. Yes, we've been talking about the statement of the president's wife, Buhari, that's talking about Aisha Buhari, saying that there is no syringe in Aso Rock, as ridiculous as it does sound. What is your thoughts towards this? Do you think this is still taking us to corruption, where we're trying to drag our feet out of, or this is actually like a reality dawn on us that things really are getting really bad and then we need urgent attention? And then some people actually think that this would actually make things right in that sector. Okay.
So, you know, I actually said it earlier that I hope this is not more or less like this is trying to justify the reason why the person has to travel out of the country to get medical treatment. Hello, good morning.
Hello, my name is Henry.
Okay, where is Henry calling from?
Yeah, I'm calling from the university.
All right, okay, just go ahead.
Go ahead.
You see, if we are talking about corruption in Nigeria, a lot of people say we just have to start from bottom. But there's so much to do that the corruption is from the top. You can imagine a hospital in Asoro, and they don't have strength. So that's to show you that there's no way we can fight corruption in Nigeria. People don't start from the top. Even at the top step of the presidency, people are still practicing corruption. So that's my take. That no matter how President Buhari tries to fight corruption in Nigeria, we have to start, people around him. If he cannot succeed in fighting corruption, people around him, there is no way he will ever succeed in fighting corruption in Nigeria.
Thank you so much, Henry, for calling. And I agree with that. Now, if the president is saying that the people surrounding him doesn't know what they're doing with the money that concerns this, that you made a statement the other time about the president saying that he doesn't know what the money he's putting into certain sector is being used for because he's not seeing a result, then what are you doing concerning the situation? Now, if I believe these people are responsible, as he claims, that are trying to spoil your administration, then you should take out the bad eggs, and then something should be done immediately.
The reason why sometimes you seem to spread out activities and things work to people is just to make it easy, and you be the sole person who they report to. Now, why do we have ministers? If you have a budget and it's not being thrown into those sectors and you're not seeing change in the sector, then question the minister. So now there is no questioning. I must tell you, because if there is going to be we need to move our head on this, then let us go to the minister and ask question that why is it that the Minister of Health, I'm talking about Minister of Health now, why is it that there is no syringe? Why is it this clinic is like this? These are the questions we need to ask. Now, how was it before now? Now, for how long has it been that there is no syringe? And this is 2 years into this administration. Now we're still saying no syringe. Was there used to be syringe, or it's actually when? Oh God.
It's a sad situation. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. Okay, so
I just want to. This is not a shift of, because I don't want to say there has been issue of questioning blames, but anytime we question the administration or Nigerians question this administration, they'll be like, okay, we just came in, it's been rotten from last administration.
That is always
the situation. Now, I hope this is also not going to, we're not going to take this back to what it used to be in past administration and saying.
And I hope this is not going to go into the next, because now we're, 2019, elections coming up and all that. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Okay, well, let's that.
You still have the number right there on your screen. We just hope the network is friendly
your
enough to take the
reaction
calls.
concerning Aisha Buhari's statement saying that there is no syringe in Aso Rock, which is what we are discussing this morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. I want to make a comment on this.
Okay, so what's your name? Where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from Ocean.
All right. Go ahead.
My name is William.
William, go ahead.
Yeah. Hello.
Go ahead,
Yeah, we can
please.
hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, I want to say one thing about this Congress.
Okay.
This Congress on the fact that it's been themselves.
Mm.
I cannot speak to us. I can see for the wife of our president to say that there is no strength in the absorb. That shows that corruption is concrete. They are talking about the fact that administration that is corrupt and that they are the people that are going to fight corruption and the people that are going to shape Nigeria to become Singapore or Malaysia or Brunei. I'm talking about a third world country. I'm not talking about Europeans or Northern America. These people have told us that everything are going to transform Nigeria to become like a Japan of Africa. But we see nothing. The government is doing the propaganda. They're not only people. You can see Lion Mohammed, he will come and talk all his life. Look at what is happening in the NLDC now. It's not just the truth. They can't tell us the truth. They're deceiving us for nothing.
All right. Thank you so much, William.
Williams, we really appreciate your comments so that we can take other people's comments as well. And those were key words, you know. And as much as Nigerians think that this is still aiming towards corruption and all that, we are really sincerely hoping that Aisha's statement would aid action towards the medical
sector and not just the Aso Rock clinic.
Not just coming out to tell us Aso Rock needs attention. And hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Hello?
Yes, how you doing? What's your name?
Hello?
Good morning, we can hear you. What's your name?
My name is
Mr. Frank, where are you calling from? Okay, go ahead, please.
I'm surprised when I think it that way. That the items are really and good in Afro. They don't,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for trying to call.
TV seems to be echoing back.
Yes, definitely.
That's why we say turn down.
I'm getting to see this that okay, probably if she's saying no syringe, the problem is not adequate. Maybe we don't have too many women because I remember the topic of that event. The theme of that event is about maternal and child care whatsoever in Nigeria, and so it was actually looking at the fact that even sometimes you get to see children, mothers, pregnant women in hospitals and then they're not being attended to, and then we have mortality rate and stuff like that. Now, it's all also boiled down to corruption in the health sector. Now, she might not really mean that no syringe, that like you can't get into the hospital and get to see syringe.
That's what I'm saying.
But it's not adequate. Probably the facilities, and I no wonder the other facility they will need for maternal and child care, for all the things they're going to need. How is that?
Another thing is it now that this is actually discovered? Is this revelation just coming up
Definitely,
now?
Did
Aisha Buhari just notice that there is no syringe?
I don't want to believe it's now, but this is the time they want Nigerians to know, and that's why it's been
a sad situation.
Yes. Hello. Good morning. Hello.
Good morning.
Okay, where's Dana coming from?
Yeah.
Please turn down the volume on your TV.
Please.
Can you do that?
Alright.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm very happy to hear you. We have been having this challenge for many years. example of many of federal government farms, government farms, nothing is done on it, and we are fighting corruption. What corruption are we fighting? Even as people have to expose of many things in energy. On the paper right on your hand there, are fighting back against the look at it. So this is the right thing. So this is the second time this man will come out to Nigeria and say something to Nigeria to the man that is what is going on the ground, that people are not doing anything now, and they can't work on it. The other time we have the country of fair, he came out, people will tell Nigerians that the fair we have in Nigeria is not enough. We are asking to go back. We should go back and apologize and say to Nigeria that this is not high. This is the man we want to be for. These are the kind of men we want to be for people to tell.
The truth.
To have minister of security is the best thing. What are they doing for the issue of the contract and running out of the energy? It is nothing. Those of you, you never expect to get belief.
All right, thank you so much for your
yeah.
contribution. Now it still boils down to corruption, those surrounding the president. How can these corruptions be tackled? How can these people be disciplined to sit up? Because now we know there is corruption in the judiciary, which calls for alarm. There is corruption in most parts, most sectors of the country.
It's individual nature. It's just human. And you know what we tend to see sometimes is there are people playing this out. It's not rocket science. Do you understand? It's just something difficult for us to see. They're just people playing it out. People are corrupt. Corruption is in them. So that's what is playing out. Now, we just need to do some things, basically, because if this is really happening, let's go back to health sector. I wonder what the budget is being used for. I wonder what the recovered funds are being used for. So these are things we just channel those funds into and ensure that we have reasonable and working hospitals and medical centers.
All right, so quickly now, before we go, now we will talk about refuge dump, and we're just giving our advice that
yes, we got a report here
yes,
on that. Yes,
around Sando, people there complaining about refuge dump, and this, I'm like, who are the people that dump the refuse? It's not the same people around there.
Yes, of course.
So it's something to actually look out for. Make sure that your environment is clean, and your refuge should either be burnt or make sure you dispose it rightly. Okay, so this is where we wrap it up this morning on AM Charts. Glad to have known you've been there all through. So join us on AM Charts again. Continues tomorrow. Definitely. My name is Gloria Roberts.
And I am is make your country great. Derived.